everybody. Welcome to Sound of Sanity. My name is Nathan. I am your humble and obedient host. I'm joined by two of my great friends in a new studio. We're calling it Secret Location B. It's in my basement. And I'm joined by two rebels with a cause.
I have a cause.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is it?
Recording things in Secret Studio B. That's my cause.
Secret Studio B.
Yep.
We spent all morning making this place kind of nice. Got some sound treatments up and some lights, some good lighting going on, and Baby Yoda and Frankenstein and some dude standing in a puddle.
Baby Yoda, Frankenstein, and some dude standing in a puddle.
The puddle is a skull.
Yeah, they're paintings.
Is the puddle really a skull?
Yeah, that's the point.
Well, I can't actually see it through Nathan's head, so I can only see a little bit of water on the side.
I make a better window than I do... Wait, no.
Better door than a window.
I make a better door than I do a window. Yeah, I guess he is standing in a skull puddle, but haven't we all?
A scuttle.
A scuttle. A skull puddle. By the way, I'm contractually obligated to say the following joke. I saw a skull puddle open for Jane's Addiction in about 95.
Huh.
I don't understand at all.
The skull puddle sounds like a dumb 90s grunge band.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
You are not contractually obligated to laugh.
I will not.
All right. That's fair enough. Really got to get Ben under contract.
He actually, he's a paid employee.
Oh, that's true. You are contractually obligated to laugh.
You didn't write that in my contract, so...
Guys, we are in a top secret Studio B. It is in Evansville, which is really exciting. Me and my family, my wife, my unborn daughter are now in Evansville. And that means Church of the King's in business, right, baby?
That's right, man.
Yep.
We've been doing nothing until you got here.
Nope. You guys have literally just been sitting on a park bench sucking your thumbs.
That's right. Yeah.
Which I think you could have probably made better use of the time than
I think probably we could have done better over the last 6 months than sitting on a park bench sucking our thumbs. Hey, it's sweet. We've got a Bible study going.
Yeah.
And we had...
Disclaimer, you guys actually did not spend the last 6 months sitting on a park bench sucking your thumbs.
That's true. Yeah, we had about 40 people at Bible study on Sunday night. Two of those people were some friends, some listeners, an elder and his wife from a church in Illinois. They drove an hour just to come say hi and be a part of our Bible study and make friends and listen to all the podcasts and things. That was really sweet and cool.
Yeah, it was really nice to meet them. And it was exciting for me and my wife to meet almost everybody because you guys have a really cool group. I guess we have a really
cool group of people.
No credit to us, but we got to come in and meet everybody. And the group is so big that it is actually moving out of Jake's house into like a location.
We just, every week, by God's grace, we keep adding people, and we'd been in my living room. We can't have 40 people in my living room. So, this is the way that God works. Like in God's kindness, the church offered us space in an amazing location. Starting next Sunday, that's where we'll be on Sunday nights, working towards having a service, our first service. Still a lot that needs to come together for that to happen, like music. But we're working on it.
We're working on it.
Anybody out there that loves My Soul Among Lions and the kind of work that we do and is musically gifted and wants to be a part of a church that sings psalms and hymns and
spiritual songs.
All
right.
It's a good place to be, just saying. So...
Yeah,
cool.
Evansville, great town. Really love it. Been here 4 or 5 days, but man, they got AZIP Pizza. They got Chick-fil-A. I guess lots of places have Chick-fil-A, but they have a more conveniently located Chick-fil-A to my house. Took out my wife. All kinds of great things in Evansville.
Yeah, this is our best selling points.
My wife, Chick-fil-A, and AZIP Pizza. AZIP Pizza is kind of fun. If you don't know it, if it hasn't come to your part of the country, it's like the Subway of pizzas. Which I realize may not sound like that.
It doesn't
exciting.
sound that great, actually, but
it's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, it's good pizza.
And so the first part of this episode is sort of updating you on where we are. We're back together. You hopefully won't hear any more dorky Zoom calls.
Yeah, we're sorry about that. We knew for 6 months that we should invest in in some remote podcasting equipment. We just never did.
Instead, we drove. We drove back and forth to Bloomington to record together.
And then when things happened where we just needed to do a thing, we
just did a thing.
We did it on Zoom with the crappiest possible setup.
Yep. That's what's going on. We're all really excited and happy to be back together, to be seeing each other on a more than once a week basis. Church of the King is getting up and running and moving quickly, and things are exciting. So I don't know, anything else to sort of check in on the lifestyles of the poor and infamous, whoever we are?
I don't think so. People can just pray for us. I mean, we've got people coming to stuff, and that's cool.
Yeah.
And we're excited about the people that are coming. But there's still a lot of work to be done with people and moving forward. So yeah, pray for us.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
In the meantime, though, we are going to be continuing to do kind of our new format on Sound of Sanity. Now, I do still want to get people some of those episodes, the deep dives like we did with Marxism last year. So I don't want people to think those are going away. But if you haven't caught on now, what is the amoeba is dividing. I've said this in other places. The amoeba is dividing. The skits and stuff are going to go over to a little something I like to call the chip, which will be coming very soon, Lord willing.
Cool.
Also, that stuff is living over at the Ville, which 3 new episodes of the Ville coming very soon, Lord willing. And I do mean like, hopefully, very. You know what? I'm not going to under promise, over deliver. I'm not going to tell you when, but I hope Q1.
Q1.
I think I can say Q1.
I feel like you can say Q1.
I feel like, I mean, I don't know, I'm not sure exactly when Q1 ends, but I feel like I can probably say Q1.
End of March, right?
Yeah, Q1. We'll say Q1. Be patient if it's Q2, but it ain't going to be Q3, and it ain't going to be Q1 of 2023. So,
Or Q4, which comes between those two.
or Q4.
Actually, Q1 of 2023 is a long, long way out.
Yeah, exactly.
You make a fair point.
People should be reassured. So,
Yeah, no, it ain't going to be Q1 of 2047. Today, though, we want to check in. We want to talk about as we record this, President Biden was inaugurated. There was quite a poem read by a woman named Amanda Gorman. That
I didn't hear it.
I think the bookending should probably talk about. I'd love to get Brandon's thoughts. I don't think we're going to be able to get those in any kind of timely fashion, but
I haven't looked at the poem. I just know that it was laced with like Hamilton references and
she quoted the same fig tree
history has
thing.
So Isaiah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And George Washington references.
Yeah. But
that
she wasn't
people
quoting
think are Hamilton
Isaiah. She was
references.
quoting Hamilton.
History has its eyes on you. Joe Biden.
Yeah. You know, it's probably better than that hack Maya Angelou, frankly speaking.
Oh.
I did skim it just now in the bathroom.
Oh.
Wouldn't be a lie to tell people that.
Did you enjoy it?
No. I mean, it was replete with lies about who Joe Biden is and the unity and strength and character that he's going to bring to our nation. But as a piece of rhythmic craftsmanship, I enjoyed it more than a lot of crap politically woke poetry. I enjoyed it more than Maya Angelou, and I enjoyed it more than Rupi Kaur, and I enjoyed it more than many a woke poet. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying
There's some craftsmanship in it.
I submitted it to an incredibly low bar, and I said, you know, maybe if this was in Hamilton, I would let it slide.
There you go.
The fact that it's about Joe Biden, don't want to be controversial here, I think a slightly less inspiring topic than Alexander Hamilton. Just my 2 cents.
Hamilton, not the greatest guy.
No, I'm not arguing for Hamilton. I'm just saying he's more inspiring than the man
Joe
that
Biden.
Scott Adams calls a walking pile of pocket lint or something.
Yes, that's what it was. I saw that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I try to, as a Christian, at least be respectful of the office, but I thought that was pretty funny.
That's pretty funny.
So, I don't know, guys. We're gonna be talking about this kind of stuff for the next 4 years, but
As long as we remain platformed.
so long as we remain platformed, yes. And we need to do a big deplatforming episode, and there's lots of stuff we need to talk about. But what kind of thoughts do you guys have right now? Let's just get kind of your hot takes as we go into the Biden years.
Just sort of in wait and see mode and doing what I can to be sure that we're preparing for the future and focusing first and foremost on Church of the King and being sure that we're able to help people and disciple them and take care of them no matter what's coming. And so, yeah, that's mostly where my mind's at, but also it's running in the circles of, okay, where are we pivoting to, when we get what happens when Apple takes us down, that sort of thing. Things we've been talking about actually for several years. We built Sanityville, our online discussion forum, and stuff like that in anticipation of being kicked off social media and wanting to have a better, stronger social community for Christians. Hold steady, don't panic, trust God, and be light on your feet.
Yeah, the light on your feet part is something that I think we've all had to begrudgingly accept as the future. And what do I want to say? Something that's been striking to me, and maybe it shouldn't have been, maybe I should have always assumed this, but as we go into planting this Church of the King, and as we think about things on Sound of Sanity, and as we just process our culture and our Christian lives, of course, I don't know how to say this in a way that doesn't make it sound like I'm just saying the most blitheringly obvious statement. But the work of the church is all-encompassing.
Yep.
It actively behooves someone like Jake, as the head pastor of this new church plant, Church of the King, to be thinking about protecting people's finances, for example.
Yeah, I had a really long meeting the other day with a Christian in this community who's an entrepreneur, really savvy, smart guy. He has 4 different companies that he started and running, just about what it means to build businesses that are safe for Christians to work and to provide for their families and are insulated as much as possible, that sort of thing. Those are some of the kinds of conversations that I've been having with people.
Yeah, and I think I've always been resistant to that sort of thing because I just associate it with the kinds of stuff that we make fun of with rapid fire. You listen to Rush Limbaugh and he's like, you should buy gold so you can protect yourself. You should buy guns. So, those are the ads. I associate these kinds of topics with the ads on conservative radio. To this day, you listen to somebody like Ben Shapiro or something like that, and the people that sell stuff on his platform are people that are going to help protect your business, people that are going to help protect your home, people that are going to help protect your family from the apocalypse to come.
Yep.
And
gold, crypto.
Yeah, exactly. And some of that stuff is very not legitimate, and some of that stuff is just fine.
I mean, I haven't even begun to evaluate if it's legitimate. I guess my feeling is, I don't need to look into gold or crypto. Right now, that feels a little like maybe I should at least know.
If you read about it, what you'll understand is that people have actually used it to escape Venezuela and difficult situations when the economies have tanked. It's interesting. There's a reason why there are a lot of people that want to delegitimize it. And when the credit card companies are literally just denying service and bank accounts have been seized, and it's scary.
And all the stuff that feels like conspiracy theory, which I can't remember which part of our conspiracy theory discussion we've had on.
Maybe 0%?
Maybe 0%. Well,
I'm sure we've had some percent of it.
I guess so, but it's just kind of like normal to have people grabbing for more power and doing it in the most organized fashion they can if they have any success, and then continue to try to do it more in a more organized fashion. And so,
well, the nice thing about conspiracy theories these days is you don't really need them because, you can go to QAnon and be like, they're activating the serum in our brain so they can harvest it to molest our children, whatever. There's that stuff. But then you go to like CNN's Twitter and they're like, we should deplatform every Christian business and deny that. It's like
Biden's first executive order should be to remove Fox News from all cable networks.
Yeah, we don't need conspiracies because they're just saying it.
They're just saying it. They're just straight up saying it. We don't need conspiracy theories from that standpoint, but what's attractive about conspiracy theories is, and something like Q or the NAR, the New American Revival Prophets, is that what that stands for, NAR?
I don't even know.
The new wave conspiracy theories on that end are less, this is how the bad guys are coming to get us, and more, actually, the good guys are coming, and the good guys are guiding this toward a wonderful, amazing thing, and there's going to be judgment for all these. You just wait. You just wait. Just wait. Just wait. Trump's got this. It's all part of the plan, Biden's going to show up and then Space Force is going to arrest him or something. I don't know.
That does sound amazing.
I mean, that's the kind of thing that people have been talking about. And the same for the prophets that prophesied that Trump would win, and then prophesied that, well, actually he won, but he's faking losing because he's just gathering momentum and gathering information, and it's all going to drop, and they're all going to be arrested and prosecuted, and just like they keep double down, and that's both Q and a lot of those prophet types,
right?
And people latch onto that because they want justice, and they want a sense that their destinies are guided by unseen forces that are working for good or evil. So it's both sides of it, right? It's principalities and powers and divine providence and this epic thing that we can't see and can't understand, but we want to have confidence that,
What you're making me think of, I don't know why I didn't draw this parallel before, but you're making me think of all the false prophets we read about in Israel who are like, oh yeah, with these horns, Ahab is going to gore the Egyptians, was it? And it's like, yeah, the bad guys are going down, those bad Egyptians, and the false prophets are just going to keep doubling down.
Part of what's frustrating to me about even talking about Q and how silly Q is there's so many people out there that just want to look cool and want to look down their noses at anybody that would be attracted to
be
Q.
So gauche as to be attracted to something so obviously.
Yeah, and part of me wants to just say, oh, you mean that people in your church are hungry for some understanding of a force guiding this universe that is good? That the evil people are going to be brought to justice one day soon, and people in your churches are hungry for that? Huh. And your solution is to talk about how stupid they are?
People in your church are hungry for boring, normal Christian beliefs? And
I don't know. Maybe it's also saying something about you, buddy, and what you're feeding them.
Well, the fact is, as you described that initially, like, people are hungry for this, people are hungry for that. I kind of thought, like, that's what Christianity was supposed to, like, just
satisfy,
like, on a very basic, boring, stupid, 101 kind of level. There's a force for good.
The kingdom of God is an everlasting kingdom. It's coming, and you're part of it.
Right?
It's coming. It's here. It's complicated, but you're part of it. It's advancing.
This is
and it advances even while it looks like it's losing.
Even while it looks like it's losing,
and it always has. And
these are things that should be taught to fourth graders, though. These are not like,
welcome to church history class.
Yeah, you must delve deep into the Bible to understand God is just.
But it is true that I don't think most Christians have a grid for that on like a gut level,
Well, part of that is because of the utter devastation of 19th and 20th century evangelicalism. Like, we're reaping what's been sown over the last 200 years in this country, starting with the pulpits.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be a surprise. You read the New Testament and you see the letters of the apostles to the churches talking to them about persecution. They're saying things like, time for judgment, and judgment begins in the house of God. And so we are in a time of judgment on America. And it's going to begin in the house of God. It's going to begin with the people of God. And so it'll begin with real persecution of the church, starting with the Equality Act and probably moving into some domestic terrorism or domestic violent extremist thing on the level of the Patriot Act, which is what people keep talking about and wanting to push. We need to learn the lessons of 9/11 that were applied to the Middle East, and we need to apply it to right-wing extremists at home. What that means is they're going to classify all of us as right-wing extremists because of basic things like believing in two biological sexes, believing in the sinfulness of homosexuality.
Those are the kinds of beliefs that led to the coup.
Yeah, and the church has accommodated herself to the pressures of culture, especially the loud voices in culture. Now that we've done our Marxism series, I continue to think about the ways that cultural Marxism has waged a successful war, and we've accepted their terms. I mean, the church has accepted the terms of cultural Marxism time and again.
Well, Jake just dropped into our private Sound of Sanity Slack something about the U.S. Bishops' Conference
had to
hold back a statement on President Biden becoming president after the Vatican Secretariat of State intervened and basically...
Yeah, and it was a statement that some of which has been leaked, and
I can read a little bit.
Yeah.
So I must point out that our new president has pledged to pursue certain policies that would advance moral evils and threaten human life and dignity, most seriously in the area of abortion, contraception, marriage, and gender. Of deep concern is the liberty of the church and the freedom of believers to live according to their consciences. This is Archbishop Jose Gomez.
So that's the American bishops wanting to release a statement and the Vatican stepping in and forbidding it to be released.
Right. And one of the things about the reason I thought of that when Ben said Marxism, inroads, 20th century, all that, our current pope, you know.
Ain't my pope.
Freudian slip.
Ain't my president, ain't my pope.
My personal friend, the king of the church, Pope Francis, he's an anti-capitalist. Marxism, it's one of his things. He's been much stronger on big business being bad than he has been on LGBTQ stuff being bad.
Yeah, and I hope it's we live in a really strong Roman Catholic environment. I hope it's a wake-up call to Roman Catholics around here about the reality of the Roman Catholic Church.
It is true in the 20th century, we could rely on you guys, I'm speaking to the Catholics now, to lead the charge culturally.
And my, so my longtime barber is Roman Catholic. He's a sweet guy, and I think he's a Christian because I've seen his life just be changed and transformed over the course of my life. But he was getting a little smug. He was like, you know what's going to happen is we've got the institutional weight and the power and the money and the guts to go and take it on the chin. We'll be the ones leading the lawsuits. We'll be the ones in court. We'll be the ones providing shelter and protection that all the Protestants are just going to stand in our shadow, find refuge under the shelter of our wings. It's okay, that's fine.
That's what we do. It's kind of our thing.
Yeah, it's just what we do. It's who we are, and one day you Protestants may wisen up and just realize you just need to come home.
I think on a local level, it's true that many Catholics are still the best of conservatism that we have.
A lot of that will still be true, but the fact is the Pope sounds like the Vatican is selling us out.
Well, institutionally, I don't think it's true. I think institutionally what we're going to see is big church, including the Catholic Church, is going to become hollow. It's going to crumble insofar as it hasn't already. And what's going to happen is the people that are going to take it on the chin.
It has been for a long time, but now
it's just going to be obvious.
And the collapse is just going to be it's going to erode so quickly. Mm-hmm. Just the way that power is accruing and being rolled up quickly by big tech and the left. The hollowed out shells of our institutions, whether you want to call it big evangelicalism or the Roman Catholic Church, it's going to start to crumble and fall away, barring some act of intervention from God, which
God can do what he wants. But
we should all be hoping and praying for.
But I think who's going to take it on the chin, just the same way that you raise the minimum wage and little businesses are who takes it on the chin. Little churches like Church of the King, like the one that we're trying to found in Evansville, Indiana, we're the ones that lose our tax exempt status. Then we're in big trouble financially. We're the ones that actually take it. I mean, with respect to Jake's barber, actually, institutionally, the Catholic Church isn't the one that's going to suffer on some wide. Now, individual dioceses, individual churches, sure, of course. I'm not saying the Catholics don't still have a good line in conservative morality. They always have, and I think a lot of them still do. It'd be unfair to say otherwise. But I think the people that are actually going to take it on the chin are people like us.
Yeah.
Them's the facts.
Yeah, if we're faithful, that will happen.
One of the fun things, if you can call it fun, or one of the interesting things, at least from my perspective, is we're planning this church. We are light on our feet in that sense of we don't have a lot of assets. We don't have a building. We don't have, and in that sense, we don't have a lot to lose.
It puts us in a really strong position.
Yeah, we can stay low profile if we need to in a lot of ways.
Come to Alderaan, we move to Hoth.
That's right, man.
Oh wait, no, Alderaan got blown up.
Alderaan got blown
up.
Yeah.
Where was the rebel base?
Yavin.
Yavin. Yeah, you come to Yavin, you try to blow up Yavin, we flee to Hoth, baby. And then we flee to, where did the rebel base end up?
All right.
Then we just hang out in space.
That's right.
While.
We just hang out in space.
Yeah.
Then we find our friends, the Ewoks.
Yep.
Things really get moving.
Yep.
Well, the fun thing about the Ewoks as an analogy is...
I never thought I'd hear this sentence. I'm ready to hear it.
I was wondering if this would happen.
You end up retreating to a place, forget the Ewok portrayal, but you end up retreating to a place where there's just a lot of natural sympathy for you and a lot of rejection of the empire. That's why people are leaving blue states and going to red states. That's why people are leaving their churches and planting and starting new churches or joining strong churches. That's why people are moving to Bloomington and to Moscow and all over the place. Maybe why some people will end up moving to Evansville in time. Then you find local allies who can throw some logs in front of the walkers.
Yeah, well, it is fun when you find a Han
stones.
Solo in J.K. Rowling, or when you find the Bill Maher or somebody like that.
Right.
It is. I mean, this is not. This doesn't make any difference whatsoever to Church of the King or our personal lives. But it is kind of fun, perhaps in a Schadenfreude sort of way. But I think also it's just kind of fun when you realize, you have natural sympathy from the most weird, unexpected.
Well, and
places.
then you have the opportunity to cultivate that, right? Like I want the sheriff, I want the mayor, I want the chief of police, I want the local district attorneys and judges.
And you don't mean you want them like in our church, of course you do, but
Of course
what
I
you
do.
mean is you want their sympathy,
Yeah, I want them to know me,
which I think is,
and to know that I'm human, and to see my kids and see Church of the King as a positive force for good in this community, and to be willing to step in between us and simply
turn a blind eye.
blind eye. Everything from nullification to simple refusal to enforce anything that could be potentially harmful to Christians in our community.
I think that sort of thing will be one of the joys of the upcoming difficult years, and it's just one of those biblical meta narratives that I really love, that you see over and over and over again. Daniel with the guy that's in charge of the food, Paul again and again.
Various jailers and rulers.
Rulers.
Festus.
Yeah, you see these people where it's like, actually Christians are really likable and winsome, and they make the best citizens, and they're weird and unusual and interesting. Maybe Caligula and Nero don't like them that much, but the sub-rulers almost always do.
The beauty of Christianity is it makes you hard to control. And so as you move from governance to tyranny, Christians become one of the biggest threats, always. Why? Well, you can't control Christians through their lusts and appetites because Christians aren't ruled by their appetites. You can't control them with money because they serve God and not money. You can't control them with the fear of death because they're not afraid of death. And so if your theory of governance is control, you can't control Christians. They submit to a higher authority than you, a higher king. And so they can't be controlled by their appetites. They can't be controlled by their fear of death, and they can't be controlled by a love of money. Those things are all absent from faithful Christians. Now, of course, they're not all absent. There are things that we all struggle and fight against, but it is what the gospel liberates us from. And that's what empowers us to be free.
And if you happen to be someone
to not be slaves, not to sin, not to Satan, and not to this world or its rulers or principalities or powers or governing authorities.
If you're someone who actually doesn't govern through control, but happens to be somebody who governs through governing, then what you quickly realize is, oh man, these people make me look really good. The local sheriff, who in this community do I not have to arrest? Who's not degraded? Who actually accrues well to me, when election time comes around?
Who improves the community and, raises the level, raises the standard.
Who returns books to the library on time? Whatever your level of governance is, who makes me look good? And it is the story of Daniel and his three friends and all that. Oh, these guys are going to follow God's dictates, and they're going to look healthier than the other guys, and that's going to make me look good, and that's great. Okay, I'll take a calculated risk on these dudes.
Yeah, and then you're standing in the middle, and it's like we said in a different episode, these people in these middle positions are looking at the Christians saying, guys, got your back, it's okay. I'm doing my best over here. And then looking up and saying, well, I'm trying as hard as I can. And the Hebrew midwives are vigorous. And
yeah. Oh, darn, they got away again, kind of.
Or not the Hebrew midwives, but the Hebrew women are vigorous.
That's what the Hebrew midwives said.
Should be more vigorous.
It's what the midwives said.
Right.
And, they're smart and savvy and, and there's a lot of rules to enforce here, and we're just trying to keep our head above water. And here, look at our bottom line financially, and here, look at our crime rates. And on the whole, we're doing a pretty good job, wouldn't you say? We need people in those positions, and we need to pray for them And that's part of why we have to pray for all of the authorities that God's placed over us. Ruling and governing righteously as a lesser magistrate is going to be increasingly more challenging.
Well, you guys have any other thoughts? There's a little bit of a grab bag of things as we move into this year.
If you want to be free from fear, if you want to be free to live righteously and well, if you want to not be controlled by the government, if you want real liberty, you really do need to look to the gospel and to the kingdom of God. Submit yourself to it. You need to make what I said earlier be true of you. You need to conquer your appetites and your lusts. You need to free yourself from the love of money so you can serve God. You need to set your hope on heaven so that you're not worried about dying.
Mm-hmm.
All of those things are things that you should have always been doing because God is God. Heaven is real and so is hell. But for the Christian who's given himself to fight those fights and to embrace those truths, that's the one person today who's free. And that's the one person moving forward in an increasingly tyrannical, controlled state that's going to actually be able to live free.
And have the excitement of seeing the contrast. The silver lining of having liberties taken away is that you're like, oh, good thing that wasn't all I had going for me.
Yeah.
I'm actually part of something that was always a lot better, and I got kind of distracted by the many blessings God gave me through decent working political arrangement.
I'm sure everybody that's listening, or most people, if they have any self-knowledge and they hear Jake say all those things, are like, well, I mean, at best, I hope that's kind of me. I've been working on it by God's grace. I still got some appetites. I still kind of like money.
Yep, of course you do. Of course you do. Pray and fight your sin. Trust God to give you grace when things get hard and to help you. But, you know, Jesus says God trusts us with big things as we prove faithful with small things. What happens when big things come and you've not been faithful with small things? The big things sweep you away. And so every way possible that's still ahead of you to be faithful with the small things, be faithful with them as best as you can so that when the big things come, you're not swept away and not overcome by them. Be eager to prove yourself faithful in small things and to grow in your faithfulness with small things.
It's entirely appropriate to motivate yourself that way. Oh, I'm not going to take another look at the hot chick that just walked past me, because if I do that, I'll be more likely to crumble when they come for me. I am preparing myself for war here. I am in war already, whether I'm prepared or not.
Yeah.
Which means close the browser, make the little decision.
You are always at war.
Yep.
You were always killing sin, or sin was killing you. It's God's discipline of us that we've been lax in killing our sin. And so now he's going to bring external pressures where internal pressure should have been enough. But okay, there's external pressures.
Great opportunity.
Don't waste them. Don't waste any of the pressures that come to bear to cause you to pursue holiness. Don't waste any of them.
Well, thanks for listening to The Sound of Sanity, folks. It's produced by me, associate produced by Ben, executive produced by Jake and me. Go to patreon.com/Sound of Sanity to support this work. And until next time,
stay sane.